The question, Jordan,
Hmm.
is how? Take me on this journey with you and Randy Newman.
My journey with Randy Newman. Where did I start? I want to say, was it '08, '09 that was that record he had out? His last record, Harps and Angels.
Yeah.
And I was in a period of my life where like I was in my early 20s. I was in community college, just like exploring, like putting every practical weird thing, seemingly things that don't connect, every genre of music. Like I had maybe 5 songs each just to test myself and just to expand my mind. And so I just looked up everything that was a release at that time, whether it was like, I don't know, fucking Good Charlotte or like a new
Papa Roach.
Nas album, everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
everything.
put
You with
up.
the whole cornucopia of music. I get
Yeah,
it.
I wanted to just expand my mind of things. Of I always like had like weird, different tastes, whatever. But like, I saw that Randy Newman had like a new album out, Harps and Angels, and I played it. I put it on my iPod Shuffle. Shout out. Oh, R.I.P. Actually.
R.I.P. iPod Shuffle. The
Yeah,
chef.
it was so good. You could just drag and drop. I paid for it. No, I didn't. I mean, you can't get me now, Napster or whatever.
Yeah. LimeWire love. So that
LimeWire,
LimeWire love.
LimeWire, shout out. No, but yeah, I put that album on my phone, and I was captivated by Korean parents. I just listened to it, and it was just so wrong. He has this song. It's just like, uh, it starts out very, very innocent, and he's just like painting an image of American kids not doing well in school, and
Yeah.
then it turns, and he's like, kids today got problems that their parents never had. Neighborhoods are dangerous. Uh, public schools are bad. Right here, we got the answer. A product guarantee to satisfy. And it goes do 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 do. He's like Korean parents for sale, and that's when I fell in love. I was like, I'm hooked. This man gets it. It's
Yeah.
satire. It's like it's playful. It just I saw a review of Good Old Boys, the album we're gonna get into. Description is basically like it borders on some of his songs borders on like infantile and magical. It's like that's the pocket he lives in, and that's what I like to explore because I know like I can be very silly, childish, like dark eyed,
Yeah.
and the energy that he just enlivens in me is just something that I need. Whether that be on um his second album, I forget the one with the kiss makeup, Born Rich, no Born,
You know more about him than I do. I'm gonna
but
tell you that right now. I'll tell
he
you
has
about good old boys, but
but yeah, no, he has a song called Pants. I made a fucking he's just like making like a hardcore rock ballad, but he's basically like yelling about taking off his pants. And it's like shit like that. It just tickles the fucking mind. It's just too weird. He's too weird to be pop, but he's also like and easily to ignore, like very like nebbish and like weird and something that he cops to and is part of his charm.
yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people have wanted him to go away or wondered why in the hell they ever heard Short People. But then he made Toy Story, and it's just like you just can't ignore him. Like
No. Oh,
you just can't.
completely.
Yeah,
I mean, and you know what's funny? That I ignored him. I've
yeah.
ignored him for years, and now I know that Randy Newman is God.
He's
It
a
goes
goat. He's a
it goes
goat.
Morrissey, Brian Ferry, Randy Newman, Miles Davis. Randy is above Miles. So what? So you hear that album that you download, and then do you just start digging everything? You just want like all I want to do is listen to Randy, and you start going through all the rest of the records.
A bit. I feel like I was chewing on that one for a little bit, but then, I went back every now and then up until like maybe 2015, 16, and I was just listening to, I was listening to the catalog, um, or this, like, the songs he did for The Natural. I like his composition too, which is really nice.
Yeah.
He comes from a family of like composers. His uncles were, and that combined with him going to visit family in Louisiana like every summer really paved the road for uh, the very outsider kind of perspective he had, but with insight for people in the South. Like there's empathy there in ways that a lot of people, who don't live in the South, they just oversimplify the people. And he didn't have that, even though you would think that the characters he was describing, or especially in Rednecks, is basically him. You know, he's
Yeah.
like, last night I saw Lester Maddox on a TV show, some
Yeah.
smart ass New York Jew. Like a lot of people would describe him as that, but
Yeah.
California Jew. But but he holds the mirror. Like he knows who he is while making fun of people. Like some people will mock people and not be able to see their own hypocrisy, But I think that he can, and that's what makes him. That's what sets him apart, and it also helps that he sometimes feels like intentionally has a shitty voice.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's not about hitting the notes. It's about like, the feeling that it embodies. If a better voice sang short people, it would be much harder to like get upset. But it's supposed to make you uncomfortable because it is not a typical like prejudice that people have. And that's what he's doing. He's making a mockery of prejudice itself by saying, yeah, you're getting upset if you're short, but here's a something that a short black person, uh, the common thing is that they're black, not that they're short, and
Yeah.
that's the ridiculousness of the prejudice because it's ridiculous to kind of categorize a person just based on one thing, whatever it is. And yeah, I don't know. I actually played that for a short girl.
What was that? Short people?
Yeah, she's kind of upset.
It's like, oh, that's no, let's turn this off. Let's put something else on.
It was
Let's put
kind
some
of
Casey and
fun,
JoJo
yeah.
on. No, so all right. So tell me about this record. What's your experience with this, and what are your feelings the first time you hear this? Because you got this like you said, this old white New York Jew, well, really raised in New Orleans,
California.
well, L.A. Jew, really.
Yeah, LA. Yeah.
But this is an album that, I mean, the subject matter, he's talking about racism, he's talking about poverty, Southern pride,
Yeah.
Northern hypocrisy, mental illness, drinking, as well as like historical and political themes. So
Yeah.
I mean, so you've dug the other shit. Now you hear this one for the first time, and what's your first reaction?
I think my first reaction was relief. I think when I heard Rednecks, it was such a relief having growing up in New York. There's so many white liberals that like to pat themselves on the back and make it seem as if, that they have some moral high ground over Southern whites. And it's like you are different and the same, just regionally, you are in a different place. But racism takes on a different place when people are not like sanctioned to segregate the schools. Like they were segregating schools in the South because it was the law at one point. But in the North, they were like, we're not going to make it a law because, we're better than that. We're not the South. We don't
Yeah.
need laws to segregate the school. And so people were just waiting on white liberals to take the mantle. And it never really happened. It stayed segregated and it still is segregated.
Yeah.
And that is something as part of the hypocrisy that rednecks points out.
Yeah.
He's I think that his upbringing made it perfect for that because he got to learn and love people from the South, and then he got to go back to California where he probably there was some embedded in the culture some idea or kinship with Californians and outsiders of being able to shit on the South.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, I have listened to. I think this we've probably overdone over 100 records on this podcast so far, and uh, I was that guy, like you said, that just breezed over Randy Newman. I never liked this guy. He's a joke. You know what I mean? The guy's a fucking Toy Story guy. And when I saw this coming up, yeah, I was excited to be able to sit down and talk to you about it, especially knowing like your background and Randy's background. I was like, this is going to be interesting. And then the second you put this on, and I bet the listeners fucking will 100% agree with me. I don't think we've had a record that has been so relevant to what is going on
Yeah.
in the world
Yep.
and said in such a truthful yet funny way. This is like perfect satire. This is
Yeah.
almost as good a satire as anything that any comedy that has come out. This is like Doctor Strangelove in 13 songs or 12 songs.
Hmm.
It just completely took me by surprise, and especially because you've mentioned it, the first song. So let's dive into the record, because I mean the only way we can start this is with the song we've been talking about, Rednecks. Peter, play the chorus. Kill it. What was that, Randy? What'd you say? What was that, Randy?
Yeah.
Did you just say? Oh, you did just say the N word,
He
and you're
definitely
gonna
did.
say it 8 more times. 8 more. I think the funniest thing about this is the same vibe as You Got a Friend in Me from Toy Story. Because I could literally see like Andy playing with Woody and Buzz Lightyear, and it's just, we're rednecks,
Just a real
keeping the
playfulness.
high down. What was that?
Yeah.
Jesus. That'll change your fucking your recess at school. So what is like what is you hear this song for the first time? What do you think?
A part of me just kind of like just getting around the word, because it's been, reclaimed. It means something different, but I haven't heard it in the context, even though it sounds, viscerally wrong. You know, if I were to be more angry at the word and less at the idea, like I can understand how that would be upsetting, but
Yeah.
he says it with such intention and conviction, just to who he's presenting the idea to. Like he's making the case because he's also playing as a character, which I don't think is it's not done in today the way people, you know, it's not hipster racism today where people use characters to be racist and shit. Like
Yeah.
this character is actually writing the song. So he says, I went to the park, and he's like, reflecting on this white politician who in the South who was on Dick Cavett show, um, and he was being mocked, and he's a Southerner, and he basically wrote the song. He said, "I went to the park and took some paper along, and that's why I made the song." And so he's presenting this idea of, we're rednecks, like in a very like visceral, like this is what you think of us kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like this is the only idea to associate with us, but here's the hypocrisy. And then when it turns, you see how like useful that word was, because it's like to get your attention and also to make you uncomfortable. It's not just should he or should he not say that. I've heard him say in an interview he obviously wouldn't perform that song today. It gives different meaning, but people say this, use that word, or think that word, or treat black people in that way, like without any levels of understanding that he's bringing and sensitivity that he's bringing to the song.
Yeah.
So it's not to say, a pass. In some ways, I do think it's wrong, but I can also see how well he used it, how well executed, just the song and what it means.
So do you think that there's ever, and I guess in this instance, there's ever an okay time for a white person to use the N word?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I don't, but I'm just saying, like, people, there's definitely no time, but people don't use it in the way he is. Like, obviously,
Sure.
I think he might even have some regrets about
The
using,
song?
yeah, he might, but I think if people could understand that people say nigga to people not in character, like,
Yeah.
and with no understanding or really any kind of scruples, then they would be obviously less upset.
Well, I
It's
don't you see I see like a lot of like TikTok videos and Instagram videos of these like white kids that like hang out with black kids or even like Mexicans that are using that word the same way black people use it to like talk to, like, they're talking to a friend. They're just, it's like in the natural flow of the conversation, which you'd hear amongst like some of my black friends or people, do you see what I'm saying? It's like it's almost gotten to a point now where I see people using it and it's just like, to me, I'm like, wow, it's like, that's a little like liberal for my taste. I mean, like, how does that make you feel when you see that shit? You're just totally like, meh.
No, I mean, I definitely hate it. I also hate when people treat me like the word.
Yeah.
The treatment still is there without the word. Like, this Mexican guy tried to start a fight with me in the fucking Rite Aid yesterday, and I looked over like in the aisle. I walk in the Rite Aid, and there's like a black. It's like practically the like Shea Moisture. It's like black hair products aisle, and I
Yeah.
needed some shit, or I was thinking about some shit. Anywhere there was soap. It was what the fuck I needed. I was in the goddamn Rite Aid. I just glance over, and there's like a Mexican man with two Mexican women, and he just goes, "You work here?" I'm like, "Nah." He's like, "You look like it." And I was like, bruh, like, he was ready to scrap with me. He was like he was getting machismo and shit. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's not just the white and black people. It's like anti-blackness is everywhere. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
not just making this on Randy. Like, Mexicans say it and they hate black people. And
Yeah.
it's deplorable. And every other group, they want to try that POC shit. That shit does not fly. It doesn't mean jack shit because they're anti-blackness in every community,
Yeah.
in every non-black community, but they make it just racism between white people and black people. So non-black people have something to learn from this too. It's not
Sure.
just white. It's not just white and black. It's anti-blackness and how the South has been able to has been made the scapegoat for racism. Period. Because
Yeah.
all those other non-black people can sweep it under the rug and try to act like it's just in the South. The South gets all of the hate, and hardly anybody who is a critic of it is actually from there.
Yeah, if you go to Huntington Beach right now, I bet you're getting the same kind of racism that you're gonna get in fucking
Yeah,
Alabama.
right
So
here,
it does.
yeah, right in Los Feliz, Silver Lake. I was in Los Feliz. It's
Yeah.
just like Mexicans hate black people. You know, every group does, but you talk to them about it, they're like, "Oh no, I'm not racist," or "I have black friends," or some goofy shit. You know, I'm a fucking Kobe fan, something dumb shit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's.
Like, or I don't know. It's just
I get it.
they try to
I
sweep.
know exactly what you're saying. So Randy explained 30 years later. He goes, "It always bothered me when that word went by, but I needed the word in that song. There was no other way to do it, and I do the song everywhere, and people get it." And like I said, dude, taking away from just that word, but this song is biting satire on the systemic racism of the Deep South. as well, like you said, as the smug northern states' unspoken racial segregation. And if everybody's wondering who Lester Maddox is, he was a segregationist restaurant owner
Yeah.
who wouldn't serve black customers even after the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and he used that notoriety to get elected the
And
populist Democratic Center from Georgia from 67 to 71.
and in the vein he was a populist, there were some reflections of Trump, him kind of laying the groundwork in terms of not just being a populist, but voting, but relying on, certain like imagery and, resting his kind of hatred, laying it kind of bare for
Yeah.
everyone to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I can like openly hate. Yeah, but yeah, he was a restaurateur. Forgot about that. Yeah.
Little known fact, I don't know if this is going to tickle you, but the backup singing on this song, as well as several others, are by the Eagles, Don Henley, Glenn Fry, and Bernie Ledden.
I don't,
So,
I don't know who
that's like, those are like white superheroes right there, dude. That's
Ran,
fucking.
Randy Newman is the only white man I recognize.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm here too. All right, I'm here too, Jordan. All right, moving on. Birmingham. All right, to further develop Johnny Cutler's backstory, let me take it again. Birmingham tells the story of Johnny, his wife Marie, and their dog Dan, and their deep connection to Birmingham, Alabama, a city Martin Luther King Jr. might have described as sweltering with the heat of oppression. Peter, play a little taste.
Birmingham, the greatest city in the island. You can travel across the same time. Ain't no place like Birmingham.
Birmingham. I think is this the ending part? No, it's not. It's only 45 seconds in. All right, kill it. What I enjoy about this song, besides it just being this really beautiful song about Birmingham, it's funny because Johnny is like aloof to the fact that Birmingham was the epicenter of the American civil rights movement of the 50s and the 60s.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's so yeah. It's so idyllic. He's like walking you through, and it's so grand, and you would never think that all this terrible shit is going on. It's so. I think the turning point in the song where it goes from idyllic and picturesque, um, and kind of almost mundane, right, in his love for it, and becomes a little dark is when he is addressing. He's like, addressing his dog, and he says,
Yeah.
"Get him, Dan." That's when it was like because dogs were used
Yeah.
in weaponized ways. Dogs were used to hunt slaves, black people, and uh, during the civil rights movement, bite them, and then today gentrify neighborhoods. The dog park is the central place in the white or gentrifying neighborhood where white people control the territory. So for him to say "Get him, Dan," it's just white people using dogs again. Like
Yeah.
you don't know who's on the opposite side of the "Get him, Dan." And
But
I
you have an
think
idea because of where it
you get
is,
an
the time
idea,
that this
right?
came out,
For
especially
sure.
after the first song. It's like, oh, that's what I'm saying about
It's so good.
yeah, it's so good because he's painted
So
this
yeah.
story. He's already set the tone. You already know the direction he's going, and yet he's presenting this horrible, horrific event of somebody being attacked by a dog, most likely a black dude, and it's like underneath this beautiful fucking melody of like lollygag. This sounds like music you like fish to and you're like playing catch with your son do. It doesn't sound like something that's attacking like your black neighbor. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Got it.
All right.
Made
All
my
right, where
living
we
with
at?
my hand.
All right, Marie.
Mm.
Now this one got me in the feels. I teared up a little bit. Peter, play a little bit.
The first time I saw you, No, always will
always
love
love
you,
you, Marie. Kill
Marie.
it.
Mm,
Just might be my
mm.
favorite. Yeah, it might be my favorite moment on
Woo!
the whole record. Yeah, it's just everything about it. Just the cadence that he's singing, the pauses, and then the strings are just incredible.
The
Um,
arrangement is next level.
yeah, yeah, you can see that he came from a very musical family and the influences that he has because this is just fantastic. So this is basically the last song. Johnny Cutler explained how his wife's name was Mary, but
Uh-huh.
is also known as Marie, and it's funny because Newman seems to be making the statement that Southern masculinity hinges on not sharing one's feelings.
Mm.
And that may be why Cutler has to get blacked out drunk to tell Marie how in love with her he really is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's it's a pretty fucking true thing. Thoughts on this song? Because I saw you going ape shit, fucking, and you're like, woo, fuck
Yeah.
yeah,
Those
you love it.
chords are, I mean, literally pull your heartstrings, no pun
Yeah,
intended. But yeah, it was yeah, he is drunk, and it is like also him describing his life. You kind of hear a little bit, when he says there's pride in when he says I make a living with my hands, but you know that the difficulty of that job at a factory drives him to drink, which makes it much harder for him, to probably emote because you do a job where it's painful. You day in and day out, maybe you can't spend as much time with your wife. So then you drink, and then you have all of these emotions piled up on top of, drinking. And then that's when you can make a song as beautiful as Marie, sadly.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it kind
What
of,
have you What have you done while love drunk? Have you done
I
anything
definitely told
crazy?
women I love them when I was drunk. I
We've all
mean,
done
I
that.
told them I loved them before I was drunk. And then I told him, but I like professed, like I like broke down, like you're the only one. Uh, when I die, and there's not, and it's just me in that ground. I want you next to me in that ground, and like all kinds of shit. Yeah, drink,
We've
yeah,
all done that, dude. I mean, I've never said it like so fucking eloquently. I'm usually like, "Girl, I love you." I'm a crier,
sometimes,
dude. When I used to drink, I'm a fucking crier, dude. I used to. I
yeah.
could be at, we could be at a fucking tailgate of a football game, and I'm just like, just start crying.
One time I
Um,
got drunk. One time I got real drunk, and I was like not talking, and the girl was like, "Are you all right? Do you like you're not talking?" And I was just looking at her. I was like, "I just want to look at you."
that's actually that's pretty slick, dude. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. And what was her reaction? Was she like, okay, or was she like, all right, well, let me show you the goods, and then started like showing you a little leg or something? No.
Yeah, she got me some water, and then she let me keep looking at her.
She was like, oh, I was like, she's like, you're not looking too good. Uh, do you fall in love quickly?
Kind of, yeah. I feel like I fall in love once a week.
Really?
Yeah.
I miss that feeling, man. I
Uh,
miss like when you hear songs like Marie, uh,
Not with people per se.
just with what you're saying, you just fall in love with. It could be a
Anything.
song, it could be a movie,
Yeah.
a feeling.
Hmm.
Yeah. I used to fall in love a lot when I was younger. I remember like I would have like I was talking about when I drank or even, my 20s, not even maybe early 30s too a little bit, but it was like I used to take breakups hard. And
Yeah.
now it's like, all right. Dude, there was a girl I was dating that was a multi millionaire songwriter in December. We dated for a
Damn.
few months and then yeah, it was I was dating Carly Simon. Um
Wait, for
and
real? You dropped
no,
that
no,
name?
God, no,
Oh,
no, that's not. No, I
I was
wouldn't.
about to say.
Kylie, Kylie. No, it was this girl, and she was great, and then it just didn't work out, and I had 2 days of feeling down on myself, and then I was just like, wow, I feel back to normal. I just think that's I think you understand love and you understand the emotions the older you get. Now, keep in mind, I was a 39-year-old man, well, 40 at that point, so I'd been through it. Like you said, like I used to fall in love hard, a lot. Now it's like I could walk into it and be like, all right, let me get to know this chick, let me find
Yeah.
out if it's cool, and then I'll put the emotions into it. And the fucked up part was I was like 4 dates, then I put the emotions in, and then she was like, I don't know if I want to have a boyfriend right now because I'm still kind of not over my ex. And I was like, God damn
Damn.
it. I was like, I already saw us vacationing in Ibiza. Like, I literally saw us, just me driving your Tesla. Damn it.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. We'll get
Yeah.
there, dude. I'll fall in love. All right.
One day.
Next song, which we already talked about via text. Mr. President, have pity on the
Oh
working
wait,
man.
is that the next one? That was
Yeah.
guilty.
Hold on, where are we? No, Marie, then Mr. President, then guilty.
Oh,
Wait, hold on. Let me double check
oh.
because
On the
I might be wrong.
on the remastered version, it looks it's weird. I think you're right.
I'm pretty sure because I checked the math of it.
Oh,
Hold on,
okay.
because
It's
like
just
yeah, let me see here. I'll load it right now.
it's just
So I've
different on
got
Spotify.
nope, Mr. President on spot.
Yeah,
All
you're
right.
right.
All right. So the next one, Mr. President, have pity on the working man. So this was written a few years earlier as a plea to the soon to be disgraced President Richard Nixon that also slyly lists some of his transgressions and limitations. But as you said on the text when I booked you on this hits harder today. Peter, play a little bit. Mr. President, have pity on the working man. All right, kill it. Maybe you've cheated. Maybe you've lied. Maybe you have lost your mind. Maybe you're only thinking about yourself. Too late to run. Too late to cry now. I mean, this is exactly what we are dealing with right fucking now. All current.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally could have been like, you lost the election. Stop teasing my erection. See that exit sign? That is your direction. Mr. President, please leave the White House. Bam, 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 do, 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 bam, bam. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on this?
I know it may sound funny, but people everywhere are running out of money. We just can't make it by ourselves. It's like
Yeah.
everyone getting stimulus checks now, everyone saying, maybe you're, thinking about yourself, saying how, selfish this last presidency was, is like, it's very prescient. He's like, I think some of the best music or just art in general feels like out of place in time. It's kind of ahead of its time a little
Sure.
bit, and people don't understand it until there's like series of events, or like it's very cyclical that they're and timeless that the of the pocket that this music exists in, because you could say
Yeah.
this about almost every presidency. This is about Nixon, but it could be said the same thing about Bush, about Obama, especially Trump. So,
Yeah.
it's people always out of money, people always seemingly scratching and clawing under capitalism and the weight of it. And, it's having pity on the working man is also an interesting, just, perspective, or something I think Randy has embedded in this Southerners kind of story and insiders thing, because he's not saying particularly any other color man except the white man. The idea of the white man, of the working man, when he says man, because man is typically associated with white man,
Yeah.
is something that a lot of white people feel and have poor whites have felt, and often feel forgotten. And I think that is who, while this guy is pleading with the president, those same people he's addressing or representing here actually voted for Trump and are voting against their interests. And
Yeah.
I think that's another interesting side of that. And it just, there's so many layers and and contradictions and complexities which are, important to a character, but also the character arc seemingly of the album and the obstacles that kind of push it and, you know, take us out on the other side and create a real picture of somebody who cares deeply about the South and wants to bring you in and be like a warm blanket for
Yeah.
shit, and not
It,
just, you know,
I mean, exactly what you just said is so spot on, man. We act like, or remember that statement that they said during the Age of Enlightenment, that history is progressive, and that we learn. We will never repeat the mistakes that we made in the past because human beings are grow and we learn. And it's like, nah, dude, we're doing the same exact shit. So that's why this song could be relevant to Nixon, and it can be relevant to every president that's come before or after. It's like
right,
this is literally has the finger on the pulse of the relationship between one of the sides of the people that are being represented by the president. Because, like you said, that this could have been for Obama if you're a Republican, and vice versa, for Bush. So it's the second I read this, and with everything that's going on in the world right now, with Trump not, giving up the reins, maybe even possibly starting a coup, I wanted to ask you, how do you think all that's going on right now will change our work in comedy and basically art in general?
mm, not sure. I know Trump hasn't been good for late night, but I never liked late night, so I was fine with that.
Yeah.
As it pertains to art and or whatever comedy, I don't know. It still, I mean, stands to be kind of seen. But as time goes along, I think stand up needs to be thought of in a much more creative way. You know, Before this, or some years ago, I did like independent plays and stuff, and I feel like the comedy special is going to be a mix of that, like one man showy play aspects, and really is something that you can connect to that isn't just needing either of an audience or thinks of the form in a different light uh, entirely. I just feel like comedy obviously will never be the same, not for like 15 years at least.
Yeah.
And touring, which I mean I never did to begin with, but I still like doing stand up
For
obviously
sure.
and miss it. Like when it'll just never be the same. Uh, I don't know. I think that we just are kind of being more creative with the ways that we present our ideas as a whole. Um, and the comedy special needs to be like rethought, not just like standing up and telling jokes, and not also just even doing Zoom, but really connecting with the the best way you see yourself doing something that isn't just a standard like mic and a stage, whether that be a
Yeah.
one man show kind of play deal like I'm thinking about doing, or you know having, I don't know, just like a reading if you wanted to do a play or put that on or go into some kind of music, foray. Um, it's just requires just thinking about it in a different way.
Sure.
I don't know
I
if
also
that
think that
didn't feel like a great answer, but
no, 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 no. It was a fantastic answer because I completely see what you're saying.
I don't know.
Unfortunately, we're about to have a civil war, and there won't be stand-up comedy anymore because we're going to be joining tribes and fighting for food and living in, and fighting in thunderdomes. You got to keep this in mind, dude. Mad Max took place in 2025.
Mm,
Which means Road Warrior was 2030, which means Fury Road was like 2032.
yeah,
I could see it happening, dude.
could be moving towards there.
How long do you think you could survive in the apocalypse? No more
Mm.
government. Government's fallen.
I don't know.
Weeks, months, years, days.
I don't know. I'm kind of not afraid to die. So if I die quick, I'd be fine. You know, like
Yeah.
maybe a day, maybe a couple of years. I don't know. I don't. It's
You ready to kill your brother for antibiotics? Lop
no,
off an arm for squirrel meat?
no. My brother needs them more than I do.
Yeah.
He's yeah. He's got thyroid stuff. And he's very skinny. I would not have to lop off his arm. He's very easy to beat. That's my older brother. My younger brother, he's kind of big. I have to put him down.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He's like, we got meat on them bones.
yeah.
All right. No, weird segue, but guilty.
Oh
You're
yes.
guilty. So
Hmm.
this is another reflective drinking song, but this time the character lives in self-pitying victimhood. This is a perfect song.
Yeah.
Also, peep the arrangement in the background, Peter.
No, I just can't stand myself. Takes a whole lot of medicine
God damn.
for me to pretend that I'm somebody else. Woo.
Peter, make sure that we get these clips of him singing in the podcast because they are phenom. So
Damn.
the only what I wrote after listening to this song is honest as fuck. He knows he shouldn't be drinking, but he's so low that this is all he has, and he is probably pissing off the girl he hangs with because he even apologized for asking to come over.
Mm.
Which is this is all the shit that this is my like late 20s. This is when I was talking about me being a crier. That's what the fuck was up right there. That was me. Thoughts on this song?
Um, it's a troublesome song. It speaks to a lot of self-hatred I think men have that kind of causes them to drink and then depresses them further. And it's kind of like a weird it's kind of like the when he's described got some whiskey from the barman, got some cocaine from a friend. It kind of is a snowball effect, no pun intended,
Yeah.
of him getting. It's like the end of the episode of Seinfeld when Kramer like somehow gets like a like a pimp coat
Yeah, yeah,
and like
yeah.
a cane, and then there's a prostitute in his car, and he looks like he's about to like go upside the head, and then the cops come, and there's
Yeah, yeah,
no
yeah.
way for him to say he's not a pimp. It's like it's all of those things leading to disaster,
Yeah,
you
he's like,
know.
bitch, be cool, be cool, girl, be cool, be cool, bitch, be cool. Yeah,
That's that kind of image reminded me of that, but it's also like yeah, the self pity is real. That drinking always exacerbates, and you feel remorseful. You feel even worse, not for how you could potentially treat this woman, but ultimately for having to drag yourself to a woman while you're feeling bad and you're drunk or you're fucked up. It's like you are seeing how it's eating, something can just eat at you. It's like, how come I never do what I'm supposed to do? How come nothing that I try to do ever turns out right? And I'm guilty, baby. I'm guilty. I'll be guilty all the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And it's not like the level of apology you're just like, this is gonna excuse everything, but you're just like, I am guilty. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I know what I am, and I feel terrible about myself. And uh, you know,
Yeah.
that last part, that part you played is the realest.
Oh, it's
I
the
just
best.
can't stand myself. It takes a whole lot of medicine for me to pretend that I'm somebody else. I thought about so much of stand up when I thought that, not just the drinking being the medicine, but the attention seeking, all of the sets you do that you need to fill the void is like the courage you kind of seemingly need to do it. It's like all the energy. He's like, it takes whole lot of medicine for me to pretend that I'm somebody else. Is like that persona you build up to get on stage to corral that stage presence
Yeah.
takes so much, and it's pretending. You get off stage and you're just like, man, I'm just, I'm telling you an idea of the truth. Then you get off stage and you feel like you were living a lie just on there sometimes.
Yeah.
Or at least sometimes it feels like that, because you think that you're a strong person, but a part of you, if you've done stand up a lot, especially, that you are beholden to it, a part of you. Especially during, the coronavirus, you're like, fuck, damn, I need that dopamine hit of fucking attention. And you
Yeah.
just like, no, I'm a strong person, man. I'm like, I don't need stand up. And then you get up, you don't have it for 2 weeks. And you're like, Zoom, let's do it. Zoom comedy. Yeah, tap, 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 tap. Like, you're
Yeah.
like, you know, and yeah, it takes a whole lot of medicine for you to pretend that you're somebody else, to
Yeah. I love
build
that.
up the courage, and then to come down off the high, and then having to replace it with shit to get
Yeah.
the same fucking chemicals in your fucking brain.
Yeah, man. There's so many comedians. That's why they do coke after their set, and that's why they do drugs. It's because
Yeah.
they're trying to mask who they really are, and then just keep that high going. That was perfectly said, dude.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, Louisiana, 1927. All right, so these next three songs veer away from Johnny Cutler's story, but still capture the spirit of the Deep South while digging into its history. So while doing some research for this album, Randy read a book about the Great Mississippi Flood of 1927, which killed at least 200 people, left 700,000 without homes, and destroyed the previously thriving cotton industry for years. Besides the tragedy itself, this song captures the feeling shared by those affected that the Northerners, including President Calvin Coolidge, were generally apathetic to their plight. I feel like that's perfectly summed up in this part here. Peter?
Hmm.
All right, kill it. I mean, that's
Hmm.
fantastic. How does this song make you feel?
I like, well, outside of, well, just thinking about how it reflects a little bit to rednecks. It's showing them in a much more humble and kind of humiliated state. He said the N word there. He's saying crackers here, and you're more empathetic towards these poor Louisianians that he's describing. Um, the little fat man also is Herbert Hoover, who led Coolidge's response. But yeah, it makes me feel like it's just kind of in the same vein we were describing, like how sickly, like the other song. was Mr. President. It's the same here with the flood, right? Because the
Yeah.
levees constantly break in Louisiana. We saw it not too long ago with Hurricane Katrina. I went down to the lower Ninth Ward before I was like leading a this kids group, teenage group when I was like in my early 20s, and they were a volunteer group, and the levees were still very weak. And yeah, it just is a reminder of that kind of pain of that poor people in Louisiana have, white,
Yeah.
black, just everyone, and just that this is written from the perspective of a survivor um, of the flood is even sadder and even shows the writing prowess, I think, of Randy.
Of Randy, yeah. You know, it's funny is we had Harry Shearer on the podcast who lives in Louisiana, and he said, you know, the spirit, regardless of the tragedies that have beset Louisiana and New Orleans, there's a love for life and the people that live there. It's like, yes,
Hmm.
it's like they're downtrodden, they've been beaten, and they've been, you know, like, you know, we know what happened with Katrina and the survivors of
Hmm.
that, but they had to regroup. But it's like they regroup and they push forward and
Big
they still
time,
keep a very positive like uh you know like frame of mind as best as they can. So I wanted to ask
big
you,
time, big
and
time. I was
I
actually
want
staying in the lower Ninth Ward, and there was like the Black Indians that are there during Mardi Gras. They were across the street from me, and this volunteer group that I was with, like we helped put together the Black Indians, which is like a tribute to the Native Americans that helped hide and heal slaves during slavery. They were like dancing in the streets of Treme, and it was beautiful. Yeah, there's a real resiliency there in that city and that state.
yeah. Jeremiah, here I want to break for a second. Jeremiah, like you have to be done at 5 because like I want to ask a question, but we only have a half hour left,
I feel
and
like
I
we'll
don't.
be finished in a half hour.
Eh, I still got some facts to do. I mean, we don't have to ask all the questions for the facts because I'd rather ask this question and we'll just skip over for some facts questions. All right. So here, I want to ask you, uh, what event? Let me take it again. What event changed the direction of your life?
What event changed the direction of my life?
Yeah.
Um, um, such a broad, like penetrating question. Maybe when I started, I don't want to say started doing comedy. I'll just say when my grandfather died. I saw my grandfather die in front of me when I was 10. And I think that it kept me to myself. Like I'm a little bit introverted. I can be extroverted, but I think that
Hmm.
it kept me observant, and it kept me a little bit removed in a kind of good way. I don't know. I think that there's an overemphasis sometimes on trauma in people's lives and comedians, and sometimes it feels kind of hogwash and you know boring. But I think um, that it has some credence in terms of shaping, obviously, who we are. I didn't. I think I was more drawn to like just being acceptable with being uncomfortable and being okay making other people uncomfortable. I think that it changed me um, and made me sometimes a bit morbid, other times kind of like brooding because it was so devastating. But yeah, I think that ultimately led me to going to therapy very early
Yeah.
seeing somebody die in front of me and just being like, okay, well, no matter how hard my life gets, I don't think anything will be as painful as that. And it helps me deal with some things to remember that and to keep that in mind, and not always to think that I have to entertain, and not always to think that I have to shroud my feelings with a punchline, as so eloquently described by Chappelle on Saturday. It's really, really much, very much how I feel at times,
Yeah.
Not to be like, I'm such a fucking bleeding heart fucking artist. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. My life is just death and fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of.
I totally understand what you're dealing with.
Mm,
I mean, I lost my best friend. He died in a car accident with me,
mhm.
and it's you could let it destroy you. You got to work through it. So the therapy, of course, is so important, but it's like it's all perspective. It's just like if you probably have a deeper appreciation for how precious life is, and because it's like that's the shock right there to tell you like, oh shit, man, this isn't gonna last forever. I need to enjoy this. And then also, like you said, the morbid part too, because that'll bring that shit in as well. Death, just that goes hand in hand. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, thank you for telling me that. I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely, man.
all right, Every Man a King. So this was the campaign song co-written by and for Huey the Kingfish Long, the Depression-era left-wing populist, Democratic governor of Louisiana from 28 to 32, and then Louisiana's Democratic senator from 1932 until his assassination in 1935. That's exactly what I thought when I heard this. So play the intro.
Man, I can't recall.
All right, kill it. So even before I read the lyrics,
Food
I
for
was like, this
all.
sounds like a 1920s political fight song. This is like,
Hmm.
and I was right. I was 100% right about that. Which is cool to have him put this on the record. Like how do you feel that this song blends with everything else on the album? Being that he didn't write this.
Oh, I love it. I think, it's very ragtime esque. I don't know. I just thought that this song was it just was kind of it did blend, but it was so short that you miss it. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
you don't even know that it's not uh part of the other song.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
So yeah, so no, keep going, keep going. I'm
it
sorry, I
gives
didn't mean to cut
greater
you off.
no no you I mean it gives greater context to the next song because these three songs, like you said, are part of the same story.
Yeah, so
Um,
this works as an intro to the next song, which is
yeah,
actually Kingfish, and
right.
this is sung like a campaign speech by Huey Long to prospective voters. This one kind of reminds me of something we already have heard, though. So, Peter, play 123. All right, kill it. This kind of this
Kingfish.
kind of to me sounds like Rednecks a little, but just without using the N word. Do you know what I mean? It's maybe it's
Hmm.
not as like it's not the same like power of the song where it's like upbeat and stuff, but it's just the same cadence. So that's exactly what I heard when I heard this.
Yeah, I mean, it feels a little bit like a a dog whistle because you know they are not, when they say friend of the working man, they're only appealing to white people.
Yeah.
Um, it's not as bad as stand back and stand by, but it's still very divisive
Yeah.
because
So
yeah.
No, keep going. I'm sorry to make
No,
you
I'm
go.
done.
Okay. So this was influenced by another book Randy read, and in fact, the reaction to the Great Mississippi Flood helped Kingfish get elected a year later. Also, Randy spent half of his childhood living in New Orleans, where Long was almost mythical. Even though Long helped Franklin Delano Roosevelt get elected, he broke with him over the New Deal in favor of his own populist and socialist program called Share Our Wealth. Long became a champion of the rural poor against big business and helped create much of Louisiana's infrastructure during his time in office. Great song, man. Where are we? All right. Naked Man. So this is a funny song. So these type of bizarre character studies were pretty standard Newman subject matter, but Randy claims that this is based on a true story. A friend of his told him about a naked man who snatched a lady's purse and ran, and when the police caught him, he blamed it on another naked man. His explanation, his explanation for being naked was that he was having an affair with his friend's wife, and when that friend came home, he took off down the fire escape. He was still convicted. This song kind of reminds me a little bit of some Obladi Oblada shit. So here, let's show the comparison. Peter, play 53 seconds in on this song. All right, kill it. All right, now play some of the Beatles Obladi Oblada. All right, kill it. Thoughts on this?
Yeah, the arrangement is similar.
It's that bass line, that boom doom doom boom doom doom. That's
I
the
love
shit.
that.
As soon as I heard that, yeah, I love it too.
Beware,
so
beware.
did Randy Newman. That's why I took it from the Beatles. Psych. All right, but how do you feel about the song though, in general?
I like the song. It's you can. He's very good at like painting a picture line by line, and it just being like a narrative, like tying a narrative around something, and you being able to like see it like in the same way. You know, you could listen to Nas describe something. It's very poetical, and then he adds something seemingly like random, like shuffling uptown against the wind. She had started to cry, wiped a tear from her eye, and looked back to see where she had been. You know, like you just is so much in the shadows of that where you're like, all right, I have to read between the lines because, like, is she crying because she's realizing that she's being followed, or is she uptown? Is she crying because there's wind? You know what I mean? Like, what
Yeah.
is it? Is she's looking back to see where she had been? Is it, or is it wind from? You know, that's the double meaning in the shit that I'm just like tickles your mind.
Yeah.
That's what
I
I
just
love
love the
about the
story
song.
behind this.
Yeah.
I think it's just such a funny like subject matter to write a song about, but it's fucking phenomenal. Which also leads me into the next song, "Wedding in Cherokee County."
There's a line I'm looking on, which I guess I didn't realize before, but because he says it so casually, that he says he said they found out about my sister and kicked me out the Navy. So the naked man is implying basically he's off genius that he's has an incestuous relationship with his wife while he was in the Navy, and that's what led him to be discharged into a life of vagrancy and petty crimes he lives in the song's present day. So the naked man, sometimes when you get songs where it's seemingly absurd and you're just like, all right, what's going on here? You're just like, well, this crazy person is crazy for crazy's sake. But
Yeah.
I love the background. Like, they found out about my sister. That's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
you need to know. Like, what?
Yeah.
It's so fucking crazy. Like,
It's so crazy. All right, so So Jeremiah, make an edit note to just let him finish his thought before I go into that to introducing the next song. Okay. Oh. Better. It's dark, dude. It gets dark
Starting
at
to
4
get dark.
p.m., bro. I like it dark in my apartment. Leave all of this in there. Don't cut that part out. All right, wedding in Cherokee County. So it's kind of difficult to determine whether Randy is sympathetic or condescending in describing the impending wedding of a backwoods groom who has several misgivings about his troubled soon-to-be bride and his ability to perform his husbandly duties on their honeymoon night. So that's about his dick. This line I'm about to play had me fucking lulzing. Peter?
But what's a midget? Her mama was a whore. Her granddad was a newsboy till he was 84. I'm a old bastard he was.
All right, kill it. What an interesting wedding party, dude. Like, it's like, all right, let's seat the midget at table 6. Whore, put her over there with your cousin. You know what I mean? Rolling Stone critic Greil Marcus disgustedly thought that Randy was goofing on certain Southerners solely to entertain the more elitist, highbrow audiences. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think he was trying to do?
Wait, can you say that again?
He said Randy was, so he thought angrily or disgustingly that Randy was goofing on certain Southerners solely to entertain the more elitist, highbrow audiences.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a joke in of itself because it's just like, well, if you don't get it, maybe you can't read. No. Wait, who said that?
A rock critic for Rolling Stone magazine.
Oh, no, I don't think that was it. I mean, I think he's showing both sides. He's showing humanity and he's showing that people are actual like freaks, you know, are
Yeah.
not unlike the movie, the 1932 movie Freaks. It's like I love the title characters are like at a table. There's this girl who seemingly like the whole movie is acted like she's holier than thou. She's better than like whatever this group of like circus freaks, and then she has, you know, it's 1932, so they don't think about like they're not thinking about like disabilities or teasing someone is wrong, but
Sure.
something happens to her, and she becomes like a freak basically, and they're all like sitting down to eat, all of these midgets and whores and all these people that Randy is describing, and they go
Yeah.
gobble gobble, we accept her,
Yeah, yeah,
one
yeah.
of us, one of us, and that's kind of what this shit reminds me of because. And that's what I think the Rolling Stone critic maybe doesn't realize. Like we're all fucking freaks. That's I think kind of what Randy is trying to engender a little bit. And it's just that one little thing either could happen to you, whether physical, mental, spiritual, whatever, and you're right at the table with all them fucking freaks and they're all going
Yeah.
gobble gobble, we accept her, one of us, one of us. That's what it feels like all the time. And people that kind of run from being a fucking freak find themselves at the table with a bunch of freaks saying gobble gobble.
Yeah, dude.
You know.
Also, I forgot to even mention this line. Maybe line of the song next to the one that we played. She will laugh at my mighty sword. I love that, dude. I fucking love that.
Yeah.
All right, back on my feet again. So this is a story within a story. We have the unreliable, boasting, elitist narrator who is in some kind of asylum or hospital pleading with his doctor or therapist to arrange his release. And then it gets even zanier. Then we have the story he tells of his dancer sister falling in love with a supposedly poor black man who turns out to be a wealthy white man in makeup who was just testing her to see if she really loved him for who he was. Who gives a fuck about how crazy the story is? Because the chorus's little run that they do is just phenomenal. Peter? Wait, this get to the chorus. That's not it. That wasn't the clip. It's get to you get to the chorus. I'll play it. Sorry, dude.
So good.
Uh, no, that wasn't 51 seconds. That was 51 seconds. I think what's so great about Randy, man, is just like it's lyrics sometimes override the music that's playing in the background and that's overlaid over, and it's just when you really study him as a musician, and like you said, like as a not an accompanist, I'm trying to think of the words, I'm fucking them up. As a songwriter, it's just he is phenomenal, and it's like as I listen to this is one of the popular songs on the album. If there were singles, this could definitely be one of them. But it's just fantastic. It just solidifies how great musically Randy Newman really is, in my opinion. Thoughts on the song?
Well, I like how weird it is. It's kind of a little bit like it's actually a term you can't say it, but it's called nigger fishing. Basically, it's like common day nigger, or like old. I guess back then it was like first nigger fishing. So basically, like today, like girls, there have been white girls who dress up and like they're just like I'm Hispanic or I'm
Yeah.
black, and it's just like they have filler and all this shit, and then they're like dating fucking black people or some dumb shit, or even anybody, just confusing them into thinking they're white. So this is like the OG kind of like testing people to be like, all right, who are you really on the inside? It's like, all right, you love me for me. If you thought I was black, I would have loved to break the fourth wall if she was just like, all right, so you wanted to test me and see if I love you. Yeah, I love the fucking black guy. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
care.
yeah.
I don't care how much money you have. I know it's wrong, but I would love you more if you stayed rich and just put the black face back
Yeah.
on. Sounds wrong, but still, she still did fall in love technically with a black man.
With the
So
black dude, yeah. I love this song, man.
yeah.
It's just this is around the point in the record where I was just like, okay, I am now a full on fan of Randy Newman from this point on. And then to end the record, with Rollin'. Gonna be rolling, rolling, rolling. What if that's what he ended it with? He's like, oh, Limp Bizkit covered this? I think this is the only way to wrap this album up. And it's a return to the now aging good old boy Johnny Cutler, escaping his troubles by drinking at home after work, blissfully unaware or unconcerned about anything but his simple life. I want to play the utmost end of the record, Peter. Ooh, just that little orchestrated like sting at the end.
Hmm.
It's so great. All right, thoughts on this?
No, I love it. I think I've smoked to this song. It feels weird. I'm like rolling while listening to Rolling, but uh, no, I like it. It's to not. I like the ain't gonna worry no more. kind of thing.
Yeah, it leaves you on like a positive you know, mantra just to like take with you from this. It's just like through all the bullshit we've just been through in the South, and you know, and I know this is still from that same character who hasn't had it as hard as like the blacks in the South, but it's just it's you know, like I said one more time, it's he's aloof. He's aloof to what's going on, and maybe while there's all this, you know, racial strife going on for everybody else, he's just like, yeah, man, I'm just a good old boy.
Right.
You know?
What else
Life's
can
gonna
I
keep
do?
going on for me.
I'm gonna keep rolling.
Keep rolling, yeah.
He's losing. He's kind of not understanding just how uh like anachronistic he is a little bit, like just out of space in time. Like he doesn't know how to track it because every day is the same, you know?
Yeah.
He's just telling you what he does day after day after day after day, and it's sad. And you realize how much sadder his existence is, and you almost want to be like, you know, you have to take a double take, uh, no matter who you're kind of talking to or like thinking about, like that you don't project your ideas of who they are on
Yeah.
that you have about them onto them. And
Yeah.
I think this is somebody who's dealt with the pressure of that and is also kind of acting a little bit like the person everyone thinks they are, you know, but being okay that he is some of those things and isn't some of those things that people think about
Yeah.
him, you know.
Yeah, I just think this is such a beautiful button on this record. Like I said, that changed my complete opinion about who Randy Newman was, and I am so fucking glad that this record came up right now, because it was sandwiched between LCD Sound System, Sound of Silver, and fucking Kala by MIA, which are both like two bangers, and then you have Randy Newman just fucking dropping fucking dimes on us. All right, you want to do a couple facts and get out of here? Just say yes.
Oh yes, who, me?
Okay.
Oh yeah. I want to do some facts.
You're fucking twirling your beard with
I wanted to
3
do
watches on.
I wanted to do my Randy Newman joke.
Oh, hey, go ahead. No, go please.
So I don't know if you guys could tell, but I'm a big fan of Randy Newman. Yeah, actually, the other day a friend of mine called me Randy Nubian, and I feel like it's the first time anyone's ever understood me. Randy Newman is great. He's got a great satirical song called "Sail Away." It's written from the perspective of a slave trader who's trying to convince prospective slaves to come to America. It's great. It goes, in America, you get foodie. Don't have to run through the jungle and stuff up your feet. Be as happy as a monkey in a monkey tree. So climb aboard, little walk, sail away with me. Sail away, sail away. We will cross the mighty ocean in a Charleston Bay. Boom, boom, boom. Sail away, sail away. We will cross the mighty ocean in the Charleston Bay. And then he wrote the Toy Story soundtrack. Who has that kind of range?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I love Randy Newman. May he rest in peace. He's still alive. I just hope he's resting well.
Wait, you met him though, right?
I did. Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I met him at a Hollywood Bowl. I have my ways, and
Yeah.
It was great. I saw Danny DeVito was back there. He was so sweet.
Oh.
And of course they're friends, you know. And I saw him, and I was like, Randy, can I have a picture, please? I could tell he was, you know, he'd done a long show, and he was very kind. Took a picture. Wasn't trying to bother him. Just wanted a sweet picture, and he was very nice.
Do you mind if we post it on our website, because
please.
it's so great, dude. It's so, dude, Jordan. It's fucking, because that was my producer when I gave my producer your email or your number, whatever it was, for you guys to set this up. and he goes, "Yo, dude, this is gonna be fire." And he goes, "Look what he sent me," and it was just a picture of you and Rand Dog, and I was like, "Ah, yeah, thank God, dude."
He's on my Hinge profile. I have like a whole arc that is on my Hinge profile where basically in the first one I'm just like, we'll get along if you believe Randy Newman is better than Beyonce. Then the next one's like, Randy Newman is the best. I love Randy Newman. And then you scroll down some more, it's another Randy Newman thing, and then the last picture you see is a picture of me and Randy Newman.
Fire, dude. All right, let's do a couple. Let's do a couple facts and get you out of here. All
Oh
right.
yeah.
In the Rolling Stone review for this album, writer Stephen Davis reflected on the song's quirky darkness by referring to Randy as deeply troubled. How do you feel about that? Do you think he is?
Yeah. And no one no one that isn't deeply troubled could make music as good as that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I
He's
completely agree.
uh-huh.
Completely agree. I talk about this all the time in the podcast. The best music, comes out of England because of the weather. Seattle, great music because of the weather.
Hmm.
Some of the greatest artists that are on this list have had drug problems and depression and anxiety and everything. And it's like, even greatest comics. We for the most part we might have a solid foundation, but we had to build that over some real rocky shit. You
Yeah.
know, so I couldn't agree with you more. Um, Randy recently released a song called. Oh wait, here you go. This is gonna back up. Randy recently released a song called "Stay Away"
Hmm.
to support people during the coronavirus pandemic. The song can be downloaded and proceeds go to the Ellis Marsalis Center to support undeserved children in New Orleans' Ninth District.
Hell yeah.
Fucking love you, Randy.
Goat, goat, goat. That song is so
Rand
funny.
Dog.
That song is
Ra-
hilarious.
I gotta listen to it, dude. You got me wanting to listen to way more. Like I want to listen to the slave songs. I want to listen to the World War II songs. I'm in.
Uh-huh.
I'm all up in Randy Newman.
Hmm.
Watch like me become this huge Randy Newman fan, and people are like, "Yo, why you biting Jordan, dude?" And I'm like, "Nah, man, we connected over this."
Get
It's like,
your own thing.
all right, I got I got Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart. That's my. All right. Randy signed away the publishing rights for his first album at the time because he didn't know how popular his songs would become for other artists. It meant he didn't get any money from those covers. Now, I'm going to flip it to the next fact because Morty, my writer, told me this in the discussion prior to it, and I can't believe this. So Randy's debut album sold so poorly that his label, Warner Brothers Record, offered customers the options to trade it back for another record from their catalog. So
That's
that's saying that
fucked up.
you bought the record, and if you hate it, they'll give you any other record. They're like, we'll just give you something just to feel like you got your money's worth.
Damn.
How do you feel about that? Have you heard his first record?
It's just Randy Newman, isn't it?
I don't, dude. This is the only official record by Randy Newman I really know. I've heard of the other ones, and I've
N-
dipped in a little bit. Like I
Oh,
know there's that song "Baltimore." I know that
oh
because it
yeah.
keeps playing on my Spotify.
What's her name? What's her name covered that?
Charlie Baltimore,
No, what's
Asia
that?
Doll.
No, what's her name? Uh, no, shit.
Well, here, while you think of that,
Um,
I want to ask you this
I
question.
forgot.
I want to ask you this question, and we probably can button it up on this. Um, which failure of yours taught you the most?
Hmm. It was Nina Simone, I think, who covered it. Baltimore.
Oh,
But which failure of mine? What?
which failure of yours taught you the most?
Hmm. I don't know. I think I've yet to really have it that's taught me the most, but maybe up to this point, no. Probably going to so many high schools. I went to five high schools, not through any fault of my own, all of them, but you know, the tenacity to finish school that I had to have from just failing at going to so many schools and trying to have to, learn how to make new friends and shit kind of carried on in my career. I've had 5 writing jobs in 3.5 years. I've had a writing job for every school that I went to. And I think being able to adapt has really that has taught me a lot, that adaptability.
No, I dig that, dude. I
Yeah.
dig that, dude. This was fantastic, brother.
Yeah.
This was so great. Do you have anything you want to promote? Go ahead.
Mm.
What are what show you writing on right now?
Marvelous Miss Maisel season 4.
Ooh,
And
you got an Emmy?
I just finished, not yet. Shit's Creek
WGA?
took them all. Nothing
You got a
yet. I
W.
wrote I wrote on season 3 and 4 of Atlanta too. Um, so looking forward to just working on my own stuff at some
Yeah,
point. But I don't know. I'm off of Instagram.
I saw that.
Mm, I Twitter, not really on it. I just deactivated it again.
Good for you.
No, nothing to really plug. Just say that listen to Randy Newman and Black Lives Matter. That's it.
Fuck yeah, dude. Hey,
And
Jordan. I mean this, dude. I do these all the time. I had a fucking blast getting to know you and
thanks,
just
man.
chilling with you and talking with you about Randy, because this is why we do the podcast, so we can find the real fans, man. And you definitely were. So
Yeah.
I love this. Thank you so much, brother.
Hell yeah. Thank you for having me, dog. Thanks.
My pleasure.